Hi everyone, I am Anonymous Traveler. First of all, thank you so much for your well wishes. After posting my health situation upload last time, many of you sent me your well wishes and positive vibrations. I was not able to reply to those comments, but I really appreciate you guys. I was suffering a lot due to the side effect of the experimental new treatment, but I was able to get back to where I was before this treatment. I have done this process of what I call pressing a reset button many times to recover from the side effect of various new medications. But this time, the last medication was really messed up my body, so I needed a little bit more time to recover. I use a combined method of fasting, supplement, and medication, but the biggest factor among them is fasting. Fasting is a subject that I have been studied and practiced very seriously because of my lifelong illness. I have gained knowledge both from the research papers and the actual practice and developed my own unique system of fasting. Its approach is slightly different than traditional fasting, and I made that adjustment to maximize the benefit of fasting. Its goal is to bring up the healing and the regenerative power within human body at its maximum level, and I would like to share my own system of fasting with you guys. I have been very ill ever since I was born, and I have been very close to the threshold of death multiple times. And if this system could help someone like me, who is the epitome of ill health, I think it can do a lot for the people without serious health issues. The unique thing about my approach is not only aim to use autophagy and growth hormone increase, but also use gut conditioning. Autophagy and growth hormone increase have been discussed many times by experts in recent years, and I believe many of you are already familiar with that. But for those who are not familiar with the concept, let me briefly summarize them. Autophagy is basically self-eating process. It's a process mostly triggered by fasting, and basically your body is breaking down damaged and malfunctioning cells and replace them with brand new healthy cells. Yes, it can also be triggered by certain food without fasting, such as reishi mushroom, ginger, turmeric, green tea, etc. But their effectiveness cannot be matched fasting. Autophagy can be effectively triggered with even very short fasting, such as intermittent fasting. There is a sweet spot for autophagy to gain the most benefit with the least problem. Everybody's biomechanism is different, so there is no set time for this sweet spot. But for your reference, one of the most knowledgeable people regarding fasting, if not the most knowledgeable person, Dr. Jason Fung said, although he is not sure, his guess is probably 32 hours of fasting is the sweet spot for autophagy. But Dr. Feng is dealing with a lot of obese patients and the diabetes patient, so he tended to use much longer fasting than 32 hours for many of his patients because their goal is weight loss. And now, the second big factor is growth hormone increase. It is also triggered by fasting, and it usually shows significant increase after 24 hours of fasting. And one study published in Western Journal of Medicine found that 3 days into fasting, growth hormone levels increased by over 300%, and after 1 week of fasting, they had increased by 1,250%. So these two benefits, number one, autophagy, and number two, growth hormone increase, have been discussed a lot by experts. And of course, I am also going after those two benefits when I do fasting. But I am also going after optimizing my gut. Fasting itself improves gut health a lot to begin with. But over the years, I found some techniques that can maximize this gut optimization process during the fasting. So I came up with my own system of fasting, and I would like to share with you guys. But let's talk about fasting itself a little bit more. In terms of human biology, fasting can be considered as a pressing a reset button on our body. And let me clarify something first. In real life situation, why do you need to press a reset button? Whenever you use some electric gadget or equipment and is malfunctioning and messed up and would not respond to troubleshootings, that's normally the time you might consider pressing a reset button. Regarding the human body, we need to understand the value of space or enough interval times. If we are bombarded with too much stuff into our body without any reasonable interval period, then it can mess up our body, and that is exactly what is going on in our time. We are living in a time where getting food is too easy. Modern society provides us with endless supply of food. In ancient times, it was not easy to find something to eat 3 times a day, but now we are accustomed to feed our body not just 3 times a day, but multiple times a day with regular meals and continuous snacking and drinking beverages, etc. This continuous, non-stop feeding has been greatly harming the health of general public. The lifestyle of continuous snacking and drinking beverages are promoted by big food companies, and their pocket is very deep. But having enough space, enough interval period is very important for our body. Also, a lot of what we eat are very questionable to begin with. Invention of white sugar is the single worst thing ever happened to human race in terms of nutrition and diet. Also, we are bombarded with very harmful cooking oils, various processed food ingredients, etc., etc. So, as a species, we are exposed to various dietary garbage. So it's very valuable to give our body some time to heal and rejuvenate itself naturally from all the damage we are doing. So fasting has been getting a lot of attention for past several years. If properly done, this kind of intervention can work as if we press a reset button on our body. It can be very beneficial. Now, let's get back to my system of fasting. Like I said, when I do fasting, I'm going after autophagy and growth hormone increase and gut optimization. And the reason why I'm going after those things is to heal and rejuvenate my body. And another big factor is to improve my cognitive function and prevent Alzheimer's. Calorie restriction or fasting and its relation with cognitive function of animals such as mice has been studied for a long time. For example, recently retired Mark Mason from Johns Hopkins University has been researched on this subject for decades. According to his research, even the mice with already existing Alzheimer did much better when they did intermittent fasting. Compared to the mice with regular diet, the mice with intermittent fasting diet had better cognitive function and had less plaque build up in their brains. Also, they lived longer than regular diet group. And although fasting itself is very beneficial to achieve these goals, there are techniques to make it even more powerful. In terms of my approach to fasting, I would like to suggest using 2 stages of fasting. First stage is preparation period, and the second stage is actual fasting period. First stage of preparation is basically designed to optimize your body for fasting. I would like to suggest take 1 week for the first stage. During this stage, avoid any alcoholic beverages and also take probiotics supplement. Alcohol is very harmful for growth hormone production system. If you drink alcohol, then at least avoid it for 1 week. Also, probiotic supplement is very helpful. For example, in recent study from Taiwan demonstrated that probiotics increased autophagy process by getting involved with VDR, mRNA, and NOT2 and ATG16L1 protein expression. So, in order to maximize autophagy, keep supplying quality probiotics into your gut during the preparation period. Also, during the preparation stage, reduce the carbohydrate intake gradually. When you fast, your body has to get into ketosis state. If you are able to get into ketosis state faster, then you can gain the benefits of fasting faster as well. So, during the preparation stage, keep reducing carbohydrate intake to let your body adapt to the environment where carbohydrate is getting scarce. But if you are already following ketogenic diet, then your body is already optimized for fasting, so you can just jump right into fasting. And now, second stage is actual fasting. And regarding the duration of fasting, everybody is different, so you need to do experiments and find out the sweet spot for your body. And your goal is the key factor regarding the length of fasting. If your goal is improving your health by using autophagy and growth hormone increase, then the duration should be shorter than the one for weight loss. Anyway, what is the sweet spot or the best duration to get the most health benefit is different to person. So, you need to experiment to find out the best duration for your body. For example, for your first try, go for 18 hours of fasting. Then, next time, go for 20 hours of fasting. Then next time, go for 22 hours of fasting and keep increasing fasting duration this way. You will find at some point the benefit of fasting will be decreased. That means you have passed the sweet spot already. So go back to your previous fasting hours right before current one. That is your sweet spot. And one thing that is very beneficial is cleaning up your intestinal walls during fasting. When you do fasting, your daily bowel movement will stop at some point because you are not providing enough substance into your gut. However, some of the leftover feces from previous meals before fasting can still remain in your intestine and it can be hardened. Some people actually use laxative to remove those leftover feces during the fasting. But there is a better way to handle the issue. That is using a fiber cocktail during the first day of fasting. My original idea was creating a kind of dietary wet sponge or gel using fiber that can move along the intestines, cleaning up and pushing out all the waste product, bacteria, and feces. For that purpose, I experimented with a lot of different fibers. Also, I experimented a lot with the duration and the timing of this approach during the fasting. By the way, 100% pure insoluble fiber does not break fast. I'm talking about fiber without any sweetener or flavor. Regarding fibers, insoluble fiber does not have any calories to begin with. And regarding soluble fiber, such as psyllium husk, although it has little calories, when you take it in small quantity, it does not break fasting. And in my case, I take 12 grams of fiber mixture for fasting, which contains both of insoluble fiber and soluble fiber 3 times a day during the first day of fasting, and it does not break my fasting at all. I check my status of fasting with blood ketone measurement device. Now let's go back to the types of fiber. The reason why I had to try many different fibers is I wanted to have both of wet sponge-like texture when combined with water, but also at the same time, I need a type of fiber that is moving through the intestine quickly. Also, I need to have enough volume or size of that wet sponge to do the job. But I was not satisfied with available fibers on the market. In theory, I need both of insoluble fiber and soluble fiber for my goal. So I tried the fibers which contain both of insoluble fiber and soluble fiber. But I was not satisfied with their performance, so I started mixing different fibers together. What I found out is when I mix oat fiber with psyllium husk, I get the best result. And yes, psyllium husk has both of soluble and insoluble fiber, but it just couldn't do the job on its own. What I found out is the best ratio for the goal is 3:1. That is 3 oat fiber to 1 psyllium husk. And oat fiber is insoluble fiber. So with this mixing ratio, you get really little calories. So, for example, for 12 grams of fiber mixture, we need 9 grams of oat fiber and 3 grams of psyllium husk. But I welcome you to experiment with the mixing ratio to find the best one for your body. From my experiment, it takes about 12 grams of fibers with about 2 glasses of water to have the best result for my body, but you need to experiment yourself to find the right amount for you. And regarding this fiber mixture, after ingesting this with enough water, it becomes a kind of a wet sponge and goes down through my intestine smoothly. In a way, it is like getting a wet sponge massage. It is like a gentle wet sponge is filling up my intestine and going down while gently massaging the intestinal walls during the movement. So, this wet sponge is removing all the old waste product that have been attached to my intestinal walls while pushing out the last remaining feces from my last meal before the fasting. It depends on personal diet habits, but many people have this problem of too much old waste product attached on their intestinal walls. So, you are basically doing a cleanup job and massage session at the same time with this approach. This type of gentle massage effect of wet sponge in our intestines can be very beneficial because the gut is the center of our health. Our gut has the majority of our immune system, and also it produces important hormones and neurotransmitters. So paying extra attention to our gut is always beneficial. What I do with fiber mixture is basically gut cleaning and conditioning. Regarding fibers I use, I am going to post the link down below for the product I use so you will get an idea. And for convenience, add fiber powder to a shaker bottle and pour water and then shake it for 10 seconds, then drink it right away. It will get lumpy very quickly, so you need to drink this up right after mix it with water. And the reason why I do not recommend the capsule form is not only that it's expensive, but also in order to take the large amount in a capsule form, you have to take a lot of capsules. In my case, if one capsule is 500 milligram size, then in order to take 12 grams of fiber, I have to take 24 capsules. So powder form is more convenient, and also powder is much cheaper than capsule form. But if you are okay with that, capsule is also valid option. By the way, do not take a large amount of fiber if you are new to it. Some people respond badly when they try a large quantity. So, do some experiment. Start from 2 grams, then increase by 1 gram per every few days. In this way, your body will have enough time to get used to a large amount of fiber so that you can use it during the first day of fasting without problem. So what I suggest is using this fiber mixture 2 or 3 times a day during the first day of fasting. And you don't need to take it after that. First day of fasting is good enough for the aforementioned goals. Now, second thing I suggest during the fasting is taking 3 electrolyte supplements. They are potassium, sodium, and magnesium. The reason why you need them during the fasting is even during the fasting, your body must maintain normal function. Without potassium, you might get heart palpitation, muscle twitching, or muscle cramp. Without sodium, you might get headache, dizziness, or fatigue. And without magnesium, you might get various muscle problems such as cramping or twitching. And regarding sodium, if you do not want to drink salt water, you can just take a sodium tablet. I will post the link to this electrolyte supplement down below, so you will get an idea. And third thing you can do during the fasting is taking probiotics supplement. I already discussed the probiotics autophagy increasing effect and suggested to take them during the preparation period. But also, during the fasting, you can stimulate autophagy even more with probiotics. But you might wonder whether it will break fasting or not. And regarding this issue, there is no scientific research to claim that it does break fasting. Also, one of the most knowledgeable experts on fasting, Dr. Jason Fung, confirmed that probiotics do not break fasting. Also, my own personal experience has the same conclusion. So, I recommend keep taking probiotics during fasting. Also, I have to address another issue. Amino acid can break your fast. I know some people take the amino acid arginine to maximize growth hormone production during fasting, but unfortunately, it cannot work. There is a thing called proteinogenic amino acid. That word means protein creating amino acid. So this type of amino acid can break fasting, and arginine is one of them. There are 22 amino acids which are classified as proteinogenic amino acid. And for fasting, the best thing to drink is, of course, water. But there are other things you can drink. That is black coffee and green tea. They do not break fasting and also reduce the sensation of hunger. Green tea is particularly interesting because several studies found out that green tea can trigger autophagy process even without fasting. Since I was able to increase the effectiveness of fasting with probiotics, I figured maybe I could get more powerful autophagy effect with drinking green tea during the fasting. But it turned out that was not the case for me. My theory is, although probiotics can strengthen the autophagy process during the fasting, green tea cannot do that due to the override effect. But I admit that this is my anecdotal evidence, so you might get different result. So after you get familiar with the result of fasting without green tea, you might want to try green tea during fasting so you can compare the result between the two approaches. So this is my system of fasting. Thanks for listening and all the best.